on. Okay, so I want to thank you all for making it back here. Sorry we ran into a little technical difficulties trying to get the computers and stuff going, but we did get them going. And we do have Brett Fogle here from Click and Grow Business. Although I see Rich here.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay, and he is from Florida and soon to be California. Thank you very much, Brett.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay.
Thank you. Everyone, you seem so far away. I love it. Some people came up forward, and that way you don't have to yell, but I'd like to get the energy up. But hey, really great to be here. I'm just in from Toronto. Dan mentioned I'm moving from Florida to California, and I think I'm going the longest route possible. I went from Boca Raton, where I have a home, up to Toronto, and now through Denver to be here. So, and then I'm driving down to San Diego later tonight. So, pretty much the longest route possible. But I'm looking forward to living in California. You guys don't have the heat or the hurricanes that we had to deal with down in Boca Raton. So, let's see. Where do we want to start? Has anyone, who's read a little bit about us, or does anyone have any idea what we do? Okay, well, I've got a lot to cover, and I think many of you might have an interest in what we are up to here, and we'll talk a little bit about my background here in a minute. But essentially, we teach people how to make money on the internet, and including real estate investors. We're over in London often. We're around the world. We're in the UK for Legacy and the Rich Dad organization 5 times a year, talking to real estate investors. Also South Africa, all over Canada. Again, I was just in Toronto, and we're off to Hong Kong here in the next couple of weeks. So it's kind of interesting what we have to share with you guys. Basically, we're going to talk about how to start a highly profitable online business. Does anybody have an online business already? Great, okay. Good job, well done. And I've done this since 1999. We'll talk about that in a little bit. From scratch to allow you to really have time and money freedom. Real estate's great, and I'm a real estate investor also, but you are sort of anchored to whoever that real estate is. You can't pick it up and move it somewhere else. But we're going to talk about kind of how to generate multiple streams of income to buy more real estate. So, and how we've done that in my family and my father over the years. And why you don't need any experience at all to do an online business. We have people from all over the world doing it and doing very well with this, learning, following our formula. Simple, powerful sales and email marketing strategies and technology platform that we built to automate a lot of this. And also how to find other people to do the work for you. I want to be like that. So that doesn't have to be hard. You can outsource in other countries like the Philippines and India and find great employees like my assistant Hershey, who set this all up for me. I got off the airport in Santa Barbara. I didn't know where I needed to be, but there was a rental car for me and directions to come here. So good for Hershey. But I found her online. She's $7 an hour. We've moved her now to Colorado Springs with her family, and I've done that a few times with virtuals. Great way to have other people do things for you to build recurring income. And I'll show you some examples here of what my background is in that. But how many of you like recurring income? And is that why you're doing real estate? Yeah, that recurring income. But sometimes you have to type a lot of money to get that recurring income. So, and I'm not saying real estate's bad. I'm saying this could be a great additional income stream for you guys. And we've done a lot of this online with our formula. The formula is NP5MS squared. It stands for market, people, places, product, people, passion, marketing, sales, and staffing. The reason 95% of all businesses fail is people start with a product in mind, right? And they don't identify a market where people are buying already. Anybody know anybody like that? Cousin or relative comes to you and says, I've got the greatest idea ever. I'm going to be a millionaire. And you run into them a month or two later and say, hey, what happened to that idea that you had? And they say, well, look at the time. I've got to get going. And they change the subject. It's because it didn't work. Nobody wanted it. Why this thing keeps popping up here with the internet. I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi. That might solve it. This technology is great here when it works. So let's kind of keep moving because I've got some really good stuff I want to share with you. And added some new things here to the presentation on the way out here. We also are the author of the Internet MBA book, Mastering Your Business Acceleration. And That's online. It's basically written by myself and my business partner. So I mentioned that we teach people around the world how to make money online. Here's some images here from various events that we've done and helping people get out of debt, live a bigger life, travel more. Anybody like to travel? I love to travel, and I love to run the business from my mobile phone. You guys have one of these? Finally, we used to call it the laptop lifestyle, but really it's the mobile lifestyle. You can run online businesses with an hour a day or less on your mobile phone. Some of the people we've worked with over the years is my business partner Daniel Miller, and we work with Robert Kiyosaki and the group there. Donald Trump, whether you love him or hate him, as an entrepreneur and a real estate investor, he's done very well for himself. And with this guy Robert Allen, how many of you know Robert Allen? Yeah. So then Les Brown, anybody know Les? Good friend of ours, so we've done a lot with Les. This is Roland Williams, NFL Rookie of the Year and Super Bowl champion. Has 3 rings from the Super Bowl. Kevin Harrington, anybody recognize Kevin or know who he is? From Shark Tank, Season 1. How many of you like Shark Tank? Yeah, I love Shark Tank. So Kevin's a good friend of ours, and then this is Richard Branson. I had an opportunity to spend some time down on his island, down in the Caribbean, Necker Island. And this all came about by having an online business and raising money for their charities. Great way to hang out with cool, fun people. And there's Trump and I at the Mar-a-Lago, the Red Cross Ball 2-3 years ago. So, before he became president, he was a much happier guy. He smiled a lot. Not so much anymore. So, and here's Daniel with Robert Kiyosaki, and so we were and are the backbone of their entrepreneurial series, and are in talks with them to get out there on the road in more countries on their behalf. So, just giving a little bit of background on who we are. Elite Legacy is the company that takes Robert Kiyosaki around and represents Rich Dad globally. So they've asked us to go around the world and teach what we're teaching here today, and have been over the last 4 years to their investors. And again, maybe this is something of interest to some of you or many of you. This is South Africa here. About 4 months ago, we've got a growing group over there because this internet marketing phenomenon is really not going away. Amazon is getting bigger and bigger. Did everyone hear that Bezos was the richest man in the world for a period, and may still be? He's teetering up there with Gates. I've coined the term the Amazon apocalypse because Amazon is killing retail. Anyone seen any evidence of that here? I've been predicting that for 3-4 years because Amazon Prime. I mean, why leave your house? You can just go on the internet and order. If I run out of toothpaste, I'm like, hey, I don't have time. It's here the next day. Great for us, but retail, they're bulldozing a shopping center near my house in Boca Raton now. It's actually Deerfield Beach. Used to be a CompUSA Supercenter. Gone. CVS, anchor tenant, moved across the street. The only thing in there is a Chinese restaurant and a Thai place. I don't think that's going to support the whole shopping center. So, if any of you have shopping centers, any of you have shopping centers? Okay, yeah, good, because I think that would probably not be a good investment right now. By the way, Kevin Harrington, Laurel Langmeyer, anybody have heard of Laurel? She teaches money strategies, so that's just hanging out there. And of course, Kevin Harrington, this is Anthony Humpage. He is the current president of Legacy Education. And we met with him in Fort Myers that was actually a week ago. He's who's asked us to go around the world and teach these strategies to people and entrepreneurs, real estate investors just like you. Is it okay if I just tell you a little bit about myself? So you know who I am, and then we'll get past that. I mean, I've told you a little bit. These are just people that we've worked with. Dush Ramachandran, he created a $500 million company called ClickBank. Anybody heard of ClickBank? He was the senior vice president there. And I'm not going to go through all this. It really is more about you, and these are some of the reviews online if you wanted to check it out. It's just at brettfogle.com/reviews. And there's not really, there we go. None of this really matters. I could tell you that I fly in space and bend spoons with my mind, and the real reason that Brad and Angelina broke up. But, it wouldn't matter. It's just really more about you guys. So let's move on. These are just some testimonials from people that we have worked with. Mike and Laura in the UK, real estate investors, they've used their online business to now buy 6 properties in London. We created a brand with them called Eternal Vibrance. It's a detox supplement product made of matcha tea. Does anybody know what matcha tea is? I didn't know either. All we knew is if we searched top trending products in 2016, matcha tea was number 1, detox was number 2. So good lesson there. Is there a market before we create a product? This is Obam Bowen. He was a Marine and was literally blown up 3 times in Iraq. Shouldn't be with us. Flatlined 2 times. Great to have him here. I asked him to write a free report for us for his business. Didn't hear from him for a month. Then I said, Obam, how's it going? He said, I wrote a book and sold 5,000 copies to my church. All through the strategies that we're working with them on. Sharon Valley, real estate investor in Texas, and she's genuinely excited about the program. I made the choice to go out and workshop and really expanded my horizons. She's doing that concurrently with her real estate investing, because is it true that if you make money online, you can put it into real estate?
Yes.
Great, yeah, and so natural longevity is the domain and the business that we created with her. And she came to us and said, hey, I love the idea, I want to do this. And they said, great. I said, do you have any ideas? And she said, I'm interested in health and longevity and maybe a supplement. I said, okay, very doable. And then she said, but it has to do with Costa Rica because I got married there. A little bit of a curveball, right? But when I went online and typed in longevity secret Costa Rica, turns out people in a remote village in Costa Rica called Nicoya, it's a blue zone. Has anyone heard of blue zones?
Yeah.
People in Nicoya are living to 100 to 110 years old.
Wow.
Dug a little deeper, and it's because of 3 strange fruits found only in this rainforest. As a marketer, I'm hearing ding ding winner winner chicken dinner because the headline in my head is discover the 3 little known 3 strange fruits found only deep in the rainforest of Costa Rica that will let you live to be 100 and 110 years old. Who's not going to want that? So great product and brand that we're building with Sharon. She's from Dallas, Texas. Linda also is a real estate investor. She says, I like this better than real estate. I'm so excited about it. It's great. This is something you can do as you travel, which was one of my favorite things. We'll talk about, we were just in Mexico in a beautiful oceanfront mansion that we rented out and just running our businesses. Wi-Fi, on Wi-Fi. We've been out in the bush in South Africa without anybody knowing we were not in the office. How many of you like that? Being able to travel, right? Because time freedom is, and travel freedom is really what it's about for most people. Now, money's great, but if you don't have that freedom to go where you want, when you want, it's somewhat limiting. Linda says she feels like she's good hands and lots of flexibility. So, just a little background. Here's Obam here. Can't say enough about him. Just a great soul, and again, glad to have him with us. 3 times blown up in Iraq, flatlined 2 times, still alive and kicking. Great guy. So, this is a way to turn your passions into profits. And as real estate investors, you might have a specialty that you could teach to someone else. If you're great at foreclosures or flipping houses, teaching that to somebody else, I call it real guy or real gal real estate. You see, more and more people don't trust the gurus. They say, well, sure, Kiyosaki can do it, but I can't. How am I going to do it? If you come out and say, you know what, I'm going to teach you the 7 things that the gurus, they leave out, and I had to learn the hard way, and you could charge them $500, $1,000, $2,000. See, if you solve a big enough problem for people, they'll pay you for that. I was just in Toronto teaching how the guy that first did $1 million in a day online, he's a good friend of mine, John Reese, and we did a math example. And you could make 1 sale at $1 million, you could do 10 sales at $100,000, you can go all the way down, but when you get to $1,000 price point, 1,000 sales is fairly doable. How many people are in the world? 7 billion? Finding people out there that want to learn how to really invest real estate more and teach them secrets how to do it is just one idea. Quick background, I started selling online in 1999. Thank you, Al Gore. I made a full-time living and moved down to Boca Raton, beautiful area. A little hot and humid down there, but beautiful house down there, and all because of the internet. I've generated over $20 million online in various different projects. That doesn't mean it's in my mattress, okay? It didn't save all of it, or there's certainly we had a lot of expenses and learned a lot along the way, but I've done well with that. Made money in many different markets, from drop shipping and digital download products, ebooks, software. I can barely spell PHP, but you can find people out there to program things. I've got a great idea for a real estate software that will basically track the ups and downs in the markets. If anyone knows has a good connection for data, real estate data. Drop shipping products, brand names, gardening. I was doing $500,000 a year selling water gardening supplies and koi pond filters back in 2002. Didn't want to do that forever, so I sold the company. See, that's the other thing. There are people out there that will buy an online business that makes money. And so think about it in those terms. Our goal is to build a company for 2 or 3 years and sell it. And I run into people all the time. They say, I run into them and I say, what are you doing these days? And they say, well, I didn't want to do that other thing anymore. And I say, and? I stopped doing it. And I started doing something else. They just walked away from it. I had a friend who had a Forex brokerage, didn't want to do it anymore, didn't think anyone would pay him enough for it, and nearly gave it up. So I connected him with my business broker that sold my company. I'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. And in 3 months, he sold it to a Chinese private equity firm for $1.9 million. You see, private equity firms, their job is to invest money at a return. They will buy bundled real estate, they will buy websites, and money-making projects, as well as other people out there that don't like doing what they're doing. Like lawyers. Any attorneys in the room? Okay, good. I can tell all the lawyer jokes. I call them recovering attorneys, because a lot of them get into it for the money and realize they don't want to be an attorney, so they look for other things. Out of college, I had a pet supply store in Washington, D.C. Terrible business. Made it work. Decided to get out of it. Didn't think anybody would want to buy a pet store, hostile dog food all day, but I had 2 attorneys separately, hated being attorneys, competing to buy it. Sold it for well over 6 figures in cash. Okay. Our favorite joke, though, is, lawyers are good, they're good people deep down. That's why they bury them 12 feet underground. No, I'm just kidding. A good friend of mine was an attorney. He was my neighbor. They're great when they're working on your behalf and you need them. Drop shipping products, brand names. You can make money on selling other people's products where there's already a demand, or self-produced information products. We made a lot of money selling Forex and option trading information, and when I started it on the proverbial kitchen table, and we grew it to over $200,000 the first year, and then $3 million in revenue the 3rd year. We made it to, we'll talk about that in a minute, but we were making that out of my house until my wife at the time said, it got too busy, we've got to get it out of the house. Maybe one reason I'm not married to her anymore, but we weren't the right fit, so it's all right. I've sold 3 of my last companies for cash. How many of you like to sell for cash? Yeah, nobody? Just the rest of you like that and carrying notes? Okay, so just try to open your mind to what's possible with all this, and okay, got to stay close to this. 2004, I started a financial education company on the proverbial kitchen table, grew it to 276 on the Inc. 500 list. You guys know about Inc. 500 list? So not Fortune 500, but without any outside funding. Grew it to the 276th fastest growing privately held company in the United States, and that just means we grew it fast. And then sold that. It was acquired by a company out of Las Vegas, and did very well with that one. So we are now growing. Click and Grow Business is our current company, and we teach how to do it with a Click and Grow Rich is the model. It's not get rich quick, but Click and Grow Rich, we have a process. We're the best in the world at teaching how to do this. I can say that because I've studied and learned from and been with side by side for the last 15 years with the other 20 or 30 best in the world. And actually 10 years ago, I spoke at a conference, and I was in the audience actually, and won out of all 200 of the other people there a contest basically competing against all of them. We don't really have time to go into that, but this is why you want to pay attention. these are strategies that literally have generated tens of millions of dollars for us, hundreds of millions of dollars for people in the internet marketing space. And you should know about this. Whether or not this is something that interests you, there's so much opportunity and so much changing in the internet. There's always a new opportunity that is worthy of jumping on. There's almost too many. And I'll talk about some of that in a minute. But these strategies allow me to build and sell 3 of my last companies. My business partner, Daniel Miller, I'll mention him in the next slide, but they can also help you make a lot of money online, or a little bit. $3,000 a month recurring without touching it isn't hard. And that's a car payment. Maybe that's enough to buy another property. And the nice thing is you put the effort in one time and it'll keep on going with minor maintenance. So, but I do have to go fairly soon. I was telling Dan earlier today that I'm in the process of moving and I need to be in San Diego by 8 or 9 p.m. here tonight. So why don't we get right to it? Just wanted to give you a little background. This is a company my business partner was instrumental in helping grow from $3 million and as a private company in Fort Myers, and they grew it to over $100 million in sales, and then through 6 mergers and acquisitions, like Thinkorswim, TD Bank bought them for $600 million, or maybe like that. These don't come every day, but these are the people that you're working with. He's an expert in sales and sales process, and I am in internet marketing. So a couple of examples here, just so you know I'm not making this up. This is one product launch. This is a Forex product that we created. Now when I say a product, I just mean we recorded our screen. And there's a product called Camtasia where you can just record the screen that you have on. So if you have valuable information, and each of you do, you can literally record your screen and sell that as an information product. And that's what we did. And with some software that bundled. Now this is $1,408,000 in sales, just in upsells and downsells alone after the first product sales, not even including the original bundle. You know, you could, these are not typical examples of course, but in a real estate capacity, if you've figured out something that you're good at, and you might say, well, who would buy from me? A lot of people will buy from you. If they know, like, and trust you. Today it's really about relationship online. And if you build that relationship, people will buy from you. And like I mentioned, they don't trust the gurus. And it's a little warm up here. Do you mind if I take my jacket off? You guys, this casual group. All right. Anything more will cost you $100, but I know it's been a long day, guys. So I want to keep it fun. Online products never sleep, so that's another thing I love. You can be making money all day long. People I know, they have their phones set to go cha-ching when they start making sales, which is fun in the beginning, but if you start making a lot of sales, then you have to turn that off because you'll be up all night. This is another Forex product. By the way, I don't trade Forex. I partnered with somebody that does, and it's very good. My first options company partnered with a guy that was, you guys remember trading places where the guys are down in the pits, going like this? Well, they don't do that anymore, and they went electronic, but this guy was the specialist in the center of the pits for Dell computer options, when Dell was the busiest book in history. And I was looking for a partner to teach this, and they let him go because they went electronic. So perfect match. We made a lot of money together. He was the educator, very good at it, and I was the marketer. So we teach how to do these things and shortcut that, because the truth is, the audience that you need, other people already have that relationship. So in a simple term, you just go find them and say, if you'll market my product to your list of people that know, like, and trust you, I'll give you 50 or 40% of the money. It's called a joint venture online. That's how we grew a company from zero on the proverbial kitchen table to $200,000 in the first month. Small affiliate, then went to a bigger one, and then kept going to the next and the next. There was one guy I sat next to in a seminar in internet marketing in 2005. I said, hey, I'm Brett, how do you do? In the next 3 years, they drove $1 million in sales to us. His father and he had a trading product called Profits Run. They are still running that today. They're doing $20 million a year now, but that's how this can happen. And so I think what's important right now is that you have this, you understand it's possible. and isn't that difficult. It just makes means you have to put a little bit of time in and know what you're doing. This is a product we did about, this is the primary product, and then the upsells, all told $634,000 and a residual income of $133,000 a month. They were selling $197 weekly webinars with the expert. I didn't do any of that. Ran an office in Boca, and we had one in Fort Lauderdale, but how many of you might like $130,000 a month? Yeah. Or $10,000 or $15,000. You know, we didn't start here, but we can shortcut your success to get there, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about why we're doing this. We're looking for people with good ideas that are motivated, that will follow the process, and we'll partner with you. We'll take your idea from this big, take it to this big through our connections and contacts, and then we'll be your minority partner, potentially, if we feel it's a good fit for you and with you. So that's just, some people say, well, why are you doing this if you're making so much money? And we really want to focus on what we're good at. And as entrepreneurs, we have shiny ball syndrome also. We want to run and chase everything, but we can't do everything well. This kind of satisfies that urge. We get to live vicariously through our partners and students. So why is this presentation different, though? The major driving factors here, if I move it closer, can you see, is that the deal? I think I made it worse. Yeah, so the major driving forces here are entrepreneurs can now start a business at home and make money without having to do bricks and mortar. How many of you have had a bricks and mortar business before? Yeah, you can't just go to the landlord and say, my sales are down this month, can I have a break? And how many of you are landlords? What would you say? No. Too bad. Yeah. So online, you don't have all that overhead. You can now reach millions of people worldwide. You're not limited to your local market. And I know this makes sense and you understand, but think about that. It's a big world out there. And there's one thing that is coming that's going to be game-changing. And that's why right now is the best time to be online. Have you been on a webinar before? Anybody? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Has anyone been to Orlando, Epcot Center? Yeah. There's a ride where you go through the golf ball looking thing, and on one slide there's a girl on one of the old brick phones. It's like a 20-year-old ride, and it has her talking, and then the next scene it's a girl in Asia, and they're talking, and it's translating in real time. I get chills every time I talk about this. That technology is here now. There's a startup that has earbuds where I could put them in, and you could be speaking Italian, and it's translating to me, and I'm responding in English, and we're dialoguing. Skype has it too. If you want to have some fun, get onto your friends or kids' Skype and change it to Arabic and then send them a Skype message. But imagine being able to do that and present, sell your product worldwide in other languages. Guys, there's some really cool stuff happening. And so I'm not saying real estate's great. I love real estate. But this might be something to add to your arsenal. And if you really knew what was happening, you'd be interested, every one of you, I think. So here's just a little graphic here. Your store is now worldwide. Amazon, you can sell on Amazon. There's a lot of people doing that. I have a friend that was selling trading software. And then I saw him post on Facebook about 6 months ago. He said, great news, our camera sales are up to $50,000 a month. I messaged him and said, Mark, what do you know about cameras? He said, I know people are buying them. Didn't know anything, found they were on the bestseller list. These cameras plug into your phone. It's for mechanics, I guess, and plumbers. You put him down into the, right? And he makes them in China for like $4, sells them for $25. He's up to $250,000 a month. Yeah, that's what's happening, and it's not slowing down. So having a little side business may become your main business, or just use it to make a little extra money. Common objections, though, we hear, belief patterns. People have had previous failures. Said, I don't know, I want to try something else. Why is this different? And then ability, do I need special skills or experience? Let's put these all up here. Trust, is it too good to be true? If this is so easy, why doesn't everybody do it? I don't know. A lot of people are lazy and just won't take the steps, or they don't believe they will, or they can. Fear is a big one. People fear change, even positive change. And